We represents the 7 best worst war movies review 2019. Let's get started with the list. Number 1. Black Hawk Down. Ridley Scott directs our generation's equivalent of The Longest Day, rendering the details of the Battle of Mogadishu in full bloody glory and chaos. The emotions take a back seat during the action, but that makes the brief lulls harder to watch as the Rangers and Special Forces personnel try to fight off an entire city. Violent, slick, well-crafted, and almost devoid of political diatribe, Black Hawk Down is the only must-see war movie on this list. Number 2. Full Metal Jacket. An anti-war movie must not skewer one war but all wars. This one takes a side to the idea of a professional soldier. Here we start with the forging of gung-ho Marines, the brutal training of battlefield predators. It takes the rest of this movie to show this ethos stripped to its core. An untrained teenage girl can kill just as well. Stanley Kubrick's war movie is staggering, violent, and effective. Number 3. The Crossing. Jeff Daniels brings intense life to George Washington and his daring, desperate raid on Trenton on December 26, 1776. If real generals focus on logistics, then real war movies should as well. The raid entailed crossing a river in silence and attacking Hessian troops under the British flag. The enemies were not only the German mercenaries on the other side, but also the timetable, the loading of boats, and the personalities of the rebel leaders. Watching Washington harness, harangue, and hector all the historical figures into action is a pleasure. Number 4. Revolution. This stinker prompted Al Pacino to quit movies for 4 years. To watch it is to understand why. His accent sounds like a Brooklyn butcher who found a time machine and dropped into, well, some version of the past. Whatever is on screen is not the American Revolution. The film botched costumes, geography, and details of critical battles, including Yorktown. The plot is ludicrous, and cancerous with cliches. Watch the trailer if you don't believe me. Number 5. The Buccaneer. There are not a lot of movies about the War of 1812. Of the thin field, The Buccaneer rises to the top, not because of accuracy but because it is undeniably fun to watch Charlton Heston's portrayal of future President Andrew Jackson, as well as Yul Brynner's flamboyant pirate Jean Lafitte. The plot focuses on a true event, Jackson's recruitment of this criminal to supply weapons and fight the British in the 1814 Battle of New Orleans. But what the film never says is that he's ultimately bound for modern-day Galveston, where he continues his criminal ways, allies with Spain, and attacks U.S. shipping. Number 6. Mutiny. The War of 1812 was marked by smuggling operations meant to defeat a crippling British blockade. This is the backdrop of Mutiny, a dull ride that even a young Angela Lansbury and her naked shoulder can't save. The plot: a disloyal crew robs a smuggler trying to move $10 million in gold, an outlandish sum for the time, about $260 million today, by sea. Number 7. One Man's Hero. You'd think there'd be a good Alamo film to put here, but you'd be wrong. Technically, the Alamo was part of the Texas Revolution, not the Mexican-American War, and there are no good Alamo movies anyway. This lack of competition means that One Man's Hero wins the category. It's not a great movie, but it does tackle an intriguing, true-life subject: Irish Catholics who deserted to fight with Mexico during the war, putting their faith ahead of their adopted nation.